Hey guys, Philip Good here. I am a relationship coach and an unconditional love coach, and also an abuse recovery specialist. And the title of this video is How a 49-Year Relationship Thrives. Yes, the 49-year relationship is my relationship with my wife, Eileen. And of course, what we've learned is one of the reasons why I want to become a relationship coach in the first place, to give back all that Eileen and I have learned through our 49 years, or it was 50 years, more than 50 years that we've known each other now. But see, we both came from volatile and violent backgrounds. So how could we grow up as kids and teenagers experiencing violence and volatility, and how, a lot of it was fueled from our fathers with drinking alcohol and that sort of thing. They couldn't handle it. That is, both of them, both my wife's father, my father, got out of control when they consumed alcohol, right? So how could we, coming from a background like that, really create a magical, miraculous, and happy and loving relationship over that period of time, 49 years? What we did when we first met is we spoke together, we lay down on the sand of the beach on a warm summer night, and we shared our stories with each other, opened our heart, poured our hearts out to each other, didn't leave anything behind, right? So it became very vulnerable. So whoever was talking had the floor. The other party, whether it was my wife or myself, we just shut up and just listened. We listened with empathy and compassion, and at times with absolute heartbreak. Yes, there were a lot of tears, even from me. And I was a guy that grew up in my generation that boys don't cry, right? That I was so emotional listening to my wife's story about the time at 16 years of age that she was beaten black and blue by her father, crawled out of a bedroom window to a neighbour's place for help. Those sorts of things. So when we shared our stories with each other, it was part of learning about each other, understanding each other. Because when you have understanding, you have acceptance about why somebody is the way they are, right? And so when our relationship started to get serious, and we were deciding, oh yes, we loved each other, we're gonna get married, we planned to get married, right? So what we did is we didn't realize we're doing it. We sort of created a plan of what we wanted and what we didn't want in our relationship, in our marriage. But it was actually not just a plan, it was almost like a blueprint. It's blueprint for our life. And included pretty much everything that was important to us at that stage. Of course, as you get into a relationship and your relationship evolves, you add to those plans, right? Or they get changed or amended. So there's one thing that Eileen said that it was not negotiable for her, and that was what she's always seen 4 children. So unless I agreed to that, the deal was over, right? There'd be no wedding, no marriage. So I said, that's fine, love. I'll go on for a ride. And because we both wanted to prove to ourselves that we could create a relationship built on love, happiness, and joy, and harmony and peace, and create that same sort of environment for our children. Something that Eileen and I did not have as kids ourselves. We wanted to create that change, that difference. And also, of course, a much better quality of relationship between each other as well, unlike our parents. So that's what we sort of formulate. That's what we put into a plan. It went really deep. And this is what I teach as a relationship coach. The other thing that came close up to creating a plan was, and we've been this way right through our 49 years, and it's hard for some people to understand or accept or agree with. See, we've unconditionally loved each other, for 49 years. See, what is unconditional love compared to just normal love? Unconditional love is loving someone, in this case, my partner, each other, without any conditions, without any judgment on any opinion, any idea, any belief. We just accept that. Because when you accept it and listen with respect and care, it deepens your understanding of the person. So you get closer to them. And you understand, when you understand somebody with great understanding, which increases over time through your relationship, you understand why they are the way they are and how at times they can say certain things and do certain things. It's because of those experiences in childhood and teenage years. And so it becomes easier to forgive each other at times for little indiscretions and that sort of thing, which you're always going to get. You're always going to get differences of opinion and different ways of looking at things. But what I and I learned in our relationship, we've never ever blamed each other for anything. Never ever blamed each other for anything throughout our whole 49-year marriage. No blame, no shame, no judgment, no put downs. Never ever put your spouse down. That's the beginning of the end, as far as we're concerned. So like I said before, when you listen in your communication, listen with respect and deep care. And yes, over a long-term relationship like ours, the relationship evolves, right? When you first get married, it's all about a physical connection. It's all about sex and things like that. And as you get further into a relationship, that becomes slightly less important, although it's still important. And particularly it's so special when you have intimate relationship and relations with a person you love dearly. But I don't know, all you Aussies looking at this we have a program called MAFS, Married at First Sight, right, in Australia here. And here they have a series of brides and grooms that get married without even seeing each other before. They just turn up, rock up, and tie the knot, get married. But really, it is a reality show. What they share, brides share intimate details about their relationship with other brides in the group, and so do grooms. And that. So that's something that you do not do. I have never ever talked about our relationship to our family, mothers or fathers, brothers or sisters, or friends. We've only ever talked to each other. If there's something going on in our relationship, then it's up to us to resolve it, right, ourselves, with a clear head and without getting, out of control. And sometimes you might have a couple of goes at it. If you're not getting anywhere, you leave it alone and then come back to it when you're in a calmer space. Right? So if you have to talk, so if you get to the stage in a relationship, you have to talk to somebody about it. Go to somebody who, like a relationship coach, who is objective, that's not emotionally connected to you, to either of you, right? That is so, so important. Something they do not do on this mass program. It really is a reality show, and it's quite terrible, actually, to be quite honest. And the other thing is about, there's a thing called ego, right? We know what ego is, a measure of self-importance. The word self applies to a person on their own, right? But in a relationship, you're a one of two, right? So you got a connection together, right? So, and quite often people, it can be two singles in a relationship that never made the transition from being single to being a couple, being going from me to a we or an us, right? So it's so important. And so with ego, if your ego is inflated, you got to have a certain amount of ego. Otherwise, you never get out of bed in the morning or go to work or want to do any goddamn thing. But the thing is, if your ego is inflated, that means your measure of self-importance, and it's dangerous in a relationship because it means that, one partner can think, oh, I'm better than you. I'm more educated than you. I earn more money than you, right? In a relationship, it doesn't matter a damn. We've had more education. We've got a PhD, and the other person hasn't got a degree at all. It doesn't matter a damn, right? Doesn't matter if somebody's making $500,000 and another person's making 50,000. Doesn't matter a damn. You're all the same. We're both equal in every respect. So once you talk down or put down your partner, it's the beginning of the end. It's hard to come back from that. So don't ever do it. And remember, in a relationship with your partner, it's not about, we're not competing with each other, right? It's not a competition. A relationship is not a competition. We're both participants in this relationship. So it's about collaboration, right? We come together. And that's so important. Because when you look at the concept of togetherness and look at two people, you're almost like not only a collaboration, but almost like a little cooperative of two, right? And you're both equal and you both benefit equally. That is very, very important. The thing about it is we're not against one another because guess what, guys? We're on the same team, right? And what does team mean? Well, yeah, together we'll achieve more, right? No, Ollie and I say, together we achieve the magic. Together we achieve miracles. And Ollie and I, we not only live together, but for most of our marriage, we also work together, whether that's in the house or on the farm. We've been dairy farmers for about 47 years. So for us, it was not it's a male job and a female job. No, it was the next job to be done. What is the next priority, right? And just go and do it. And do it without being asked. Have the conscious awareness of knowing what's going on around you. Don't be on a gaming machine inside the house, oblivious to what's going on around you. That's not the way to do anything. That's not the way to do it. You've got to be aware. I mean, there's no use, for example, if you sit down to a lunch for yourself, maybe your wife's out, you're sitting down to a lunch, but you've got little kids running around and you haven't asked them, are they hungry? Would you like something to eat? Because you're just looking after yourself. In a relationship, when you're a husband or when you're a parent, there's no time for being selfish. You've got to be totally selfless, right? Totally selfless. And awareness means you're aware of what's going on around you. You're observing. You're looking around you. You haven't got tunnel vision into a device like a mobile or a computer, a laptop or a TV, playing a game or whatever. No, because if you carry on doing that for a long period of time, oblivious to your partner or your children, your relationship, like 9 times out of 10, your relationship's going to end, right? Because you sign yourself out. You're not available to your loved one, your loved ones, your spouse, and or your children. But the greatest thing, what Eileen always puts number one when I ask her what is the greatest thing in our relationship, love, she puts the top of the pot. She puts it even above unconditional love, and that is trust. Trusting your partner is everything. If you haven't got trust, you've got nothing. You've got to have your partner's back, always. And part of the trust thing was we've never spoken about our relationship with any other person in our lives. Our relationship is sacred. It's a sacred space. We've kept it that way for 49 years. Had we not been able to overcome any challenges we had, and we did have a few, we would have sought out a relationship coach, not a counselor, but a relationship coach, and preferably someone who had been happily married and lovingly married for a long, long time. Because they've gone through the test of time. And for me and for my wife, that is highly important. Rather than go to somebody as a coach that's been a coach for 5 years, but it's only been married for 5 years. They haven't learned a lot of things that happen as a relationship gets deeper and evolves over time. See, love, you think you're in love with a person when you first get married, but it's not really love. The biggest the initial part of a relationship is sex. Sex with a little love in there, but mainly it's sex, the physical attraction. Then as your relationship evolves, it becomes respect and deep care. It matures, so the physical aspect becomes more emotional, becomes more mental, becomes more spiritual over a period of time. And if you've got a great relationship and you spend a lot of time with each other, and you want to spend time with each other in a great relationship. So what does time actually mean? To invest my essence with those that I love, my spouse, my children, my grandchildren, and my close friends. We're talking about this family unit for the moment. So spending time to invest my essence with those that I love, my wife, my children. That's what it's about. And you should always want, first and foremost, to spend time with your loved ones, your wife, your husband, your children. Friends come, doesn't matter who your best friend was before you got married. In a good marriage, in a great marriage like mine and Eileen's, we are best friends. The best friend we had before we got married is now our second best friend. Eileen's my best friend, hand on heart, always has been my whole married life. And it always will be that. And to give you an idea what unconditional love looks like in our relationship, for the last 11 years, due to an accident, I've been Eileen's caregiver for the past 11 years. I pretty much do everything. Eileen helps out with, meal preparation and that sort of. We eat sort of like 2 different things, so. But we sort of collaborate on meals and things like that. But I do the vacuum cleaning, go to the shop, the supermarket, get the groceries, look after and clean the house inside, look after the outer part of the house as well. she's had a lot of, she's on a lot of a whole Webster pack of medication. There's a lot of pain, and it's been like that for the last 11 years. So I've been her full-time caregiver for the last 11 years. But you know what? I do it willingly. I do it gladly. I do it lovingly because I know if the brick was on the other foot, I'd do the same for me. So I always do it with love in my heart. And at 73, I'm at 73 in May. One of my reasons for carrying on in this life is to look after my wife. That's the number one reason. Hand on heart, without a shadow of a doubt. And I know that when we both pass from this life, that we'll still be together. We'll still be connected. I just know it. I've always known it. And so is she. Well, guys, I hope this video has given you some food for thought. And I hope it can help you in a relationship. If you need some help from me, then I do have a YouTube channel. It's Feel Good at Feel Good 2109. And so yeah, we can go to my Facebook group over Facebook as well, Facebook account, and look up Feel Good, and you'll see this. You'll see my face, no doubt. This old bloke. And if you're like any help, I'd be too pleased to help you out and get you on the right track. Okay. I love you and leave you for now. So bye for now. Have a great night or a great day wherever you are in the world. Love you guys. Bye for now.